up his game and really shows us like a Geek Fam level of Natalia destruction.
Hey, have you realized that Kufra is left right now? Because in the previous game, Resurgence and Geek Fam, when Resurgence picked Natalia, Geek Fam went with the Kufra pick for themselves. This time around, they pick out the Atlas and the Cho instead.
Well, I'm glad that you actually highlighted the Kufra, because RSG could definitely go for the Kufra to prevent Cho from diving right in, as well as that Atlas that has been stolen away. So LI4 says, I want that Clot. I'm not going to give it over to Feeks. And we are looking at the Jawhead, which sees very much high win rates in the hands of Santa.
I think this is a really good idea from Resurgence, actually. Taking the Jawhead is going to say, hey, no matter what hyper carry you have, you're always at risk of getting Unstoppable Forced Ejector comboed.
Yeah, and at the same time, they can't pick the Jawhead to go up against the Natalia, because we know the Jawhead is actually really good at picking out the Natalia. So that's taken away from Geek Fam at the moment.
I expect Geek Fam to actually ban out the high loss here. Ooh, instead they take away Farsa. That's kind of weird coming in from Geek Fam.
Well, I'm guessing it because like it's gonna be quite a difficult task for them to actually focus down on towards that sort of long range mate. So they rather actually take it out. But great thinking coming from the side of Resurgence to actually negate Aurora to be picked up, because if Natalia to be coming anywhere close, with one tap of the button, you can easily just lock down that Natalia and just get everyone ganking upon her. So Geek Fam, of course, have to actually look for some other choice for mages.
There could be the Valier.
Come on.
Yesterday they went for a Terizla as well. I'm not sure if Terizla would be a good fourth pick though. Or it could be a
I mean, like Terizla. That's true. That's true. But you know, I think. Oh man, they didn't go for him. Alright, so it looks like Dominus is more comfortable on the Kagura just to have the safety of actually checking out rushes without having to face check them using the Atlas here. So that's probably their line of thinking. I personally would have preferred to see the Valier to kind of stop the engages, but it looks like Geek Fam is expecting Resurgence to go for a dive-heavy composition. As we can see, Sylvana as well as the high loss. Personally, I think Geek Fam kind of messed up the draft when they decided to ban out the Farsa. They're giving too much respect to it. They should have banned out the high loss, because now Resurgence has a full dive composition. Their backline should be terrified.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting. I'm still for the last pick. I need to see the last pick.
Yeah, I want to see the answer to this, because we're seeing Sync actually facing off against a possible Terizla so quick. Sort of a big respect to Faras for predicting this before everyone else. So you mentioned about the Terizla, they're gonna bring it in against Sync.
My loves, you know that you guys are the experts here. I'm just looking at previous stats. That's it. It's not that I know more than you guys. So since you guys are the experts here, what do you expect from these drafts? Who do you think is gonna be at an advantage going into this game?
Aaron, you want to take this one?
Well, I'm looking at scalability. I'm thinking that RSG does have better scaling, if I would actually recall the entire draft correctly. And Geek Fam definitely still stands pretty much great chances, because it's Zorn on that child once again. And I think that they have different sort of the rotations to be brought out now that they are on a different side.
Well, I think in terms of compositions from both of these teams, Geek Fam and Resurgence, right? We know what Resurgence's game plan is going to be, but remember that Jason on Natalia, if he scales well into this game and if it drags out to at least, you know, 13, 14 minutes and the gold is even, it's just going to open up another win condition for Resurgence, because then they're going to have a very strong split pusher. Remember, Orzora Veki on the Terizla doesn't scale very, very well. Terizla is only strong from early to mid game, and then after that, he is just an engage bot and a tank for the team.
And that definitely is something to ponder about. But, well, other than being an engaged bot, I'm pretty sure that the will be able to actually pull some a little bit bait, and Jason actually soaking a little bit too much. Flicker coming out to actually try to secure the first blood, but it won't happen here. Santa will flip him up, and first blood might just be Zorn taken down, and Resurgence once again getting that advantage here with Santa flickering in for that kill.
That is so unlucky. Geek Fam executed that perfectly, and they wanted to give Feeks the kill, but Jason survives with just a sliver of health, and RSG end up on top of that 50-50 there. Wow, that is, I am just shocked. If I was Geek Fam, I would be so upset because they played everything perfectly there.
Yeah, I felt definitely it could have been a little bit of better execution as well. They didn't really have to risk it all with that turret dive though, if you ask me. But it would have been a little bit more cleaner, to say the very least. But you know, we're already looking at the second kill going over the side of Resurgence. Jason also getting pretty much a head start. So a lot of goal going over on the favor of RSG pretty much in the span of less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, Geek Fam really need to think about the certain 2v2s that they're in, because there's no way that they're ever going to beat Jason and Sana in a 2v2, especially when you're using Arts as well as Dominus, who both lack gold and base damages in the early stages of the game. Like, Arts is going to be the main damage dealer, and he's going to take a butt ton as he goes down instantaneously, but Zorabeki coming in with a huge arrival. That's a huge execution, a strike, turning it around as Geek Fam find the footing that they were looking for, collapsing onto Resurgence, who totally forgot that Zorabeki took the arrival, and his timing for that TP itself was impeccable.
It could not be any better, and of course they didn't see that one coming in. Oh, like, Arrival has been pretty much off the meta for quite some time, I want to say, and this is definitely going to be a little bit of a bite back coming in from the side of Jason Ko, and there goes Sana as well, locking upon Feeks, hoping to actually flicker away, trying to actually look for that ejector, but a big stun coming out. It's going to be able to actually find Jason, but the rest of RSG looking for Zorn. It's a little bit more of that sort of the effort to be put out, but RSG at least will be able to secure this turtle.
Yeah, I mean, Geek Fam, they made a good decision there. They traded 1-for-1. They were able to kill Jason off without losing another member, because Resurgence actually had priority on that rotation. So Geek Fam understood, all right, I've got a very short window here. If I could just kill Jason, this will all be worth it. And even though they did lose Turtle, look at the goal lead. It is 800 in favor of Geek Fam right now, and this is as big of a goal lead as they're going to get right now until they play like Resurgence last game and become a bank and get that sweet, sweet compound interest.
That's right, and I'm definitely looking at how things are moving for both ends here. Like, both are pretty much very similar in terms of rotation for the current time being. While there's going to be a little bit more of that movement inside the jungle for RSG, as we are looking at perhaps a little bit of stalking coming in from that Natalia. So maybe they might just want to actually catch over something, but that big fat wave over the top side, of course, needs a little bit more of that defending coming in from Sana after that.
Totally. And as we transition from early game to mid game here, Jason is going to be a little less effective because Geek Fam, they're starting to get 1 or 2 items enough to prevent Jason from one-shotting them, and that's why he's forced to take the execution instead of anything else. But let's keep an eye out for Jason here, because he's got to make something happen in this game if Resurgence wants to win. So far, Zorn has been performing phenomenally, getting some great Atlas Fatal Link ult with the flicker, just like KZP in game 1. So I mean, it's a little bit of a flex, but let's see how this goes.
Yeah, and Saint here will be charged upon, but oh my, he actually survives a little bit of that shot coming in from Dominus with the flame shot, but won't be able to actually take him down. Quick movements coming in from Singh himself, but Jason once again on the prowl, so maybe they might have known that his existence is somewhere within the jungle. So sending the umbrella then towards the brush, not being able to actually catch them out, but there will be a little bit more of that sort of the contest over the bottom side. Not only did Geek Fam take that turret, now they also can take charge of the turtle if they want to, but Resurgence responds with a mid lane push here over on the Dominus here as Jason almost actually takes him down. Oh my! Overturn! Dominus with that solo kill!
Oh, penalty zone coming in, locking in the rest of RSG members. LY4 trying to survive, manages to pick up Arts here. They're gonna turn this around. It's a 3v4 situation as one more member, Sync, trying to go for the Imperial Justice into the back line. He does land it on Zorn, however, the tenacity is keeping him alive. Looks like RSG forced Geek Fam to actually recall here, but they can't even contest or have the damage to finish off this turtle fast enough before Geek Fam get back into the fight.
Oh, there goes, but and towards
Oh.
the 4 members of these Geek Man players, but they are backing away. But there goes
Penalties
of everybody! Oh no, this looks back for the side of RSG. They're on a retreat. Jason managed to escape for a little while, but it will be a chase coming from Feeks. 5-0, and we are looking at Geek Man here taking it pretty much greatly. And man, they did stop them on the tracks.
Bro, that wombo combo was nasty. Oh wait, Dominus might actually get punished here. LY4 could commit, but Zorn has already been ready. Yanks LY4 back into the team. He's not going to be able to survive, and he doesn't even have Purify to save him as it just came back up. A little unlucky here, but we're getting that sweet compound interest we were talking about before this. Geek Fam now in the driver's seat. Let's see whether they can take this lead and make sure that their foot does not leave the gas pedal.
And I'm definitely loving this whole idea. We've seen those wombo combos enter its effect, and look at how well they are just actually putting every single thing on the line in all these fights. It's just so beautiful to watch, and of course, Resurgence need to actually respond. How exactly should they actually maneuver around all this sort of picks, because you can't exactly go diving into assassinate Dominus, as we've already seen Jason trying to do so, and the succession rate was not that great. He's been taken 4 times already, and Geek Fam already have this sort of draft where it's kind of like a very big counter towards the Natalia.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I think Geek Fam had that in mind. Azoroveki now gonna take a lot of damage, but Body of the Smith and Penalty Zone, it's gonna allow him to kind of just walk away from all this damage, because Sync, he isn't the main carry, and he did take Tenacity. So again, the trades are not looking very good for RSG at this point of time. But I kind of want to I want to poke your brain at something, Aaron, here, because we're looking at a composition from Geek Fam that doesn't necessarily have to engage. They're kind of expecting RSG to make the plays, and when they do, Geek Fam kind of wants to go back into the fight, re-engage with the major ultimates being Fatal Links and the Penalty Zone from both Zorn as well as Azoroveki. And worst comes to worst, when that does happen, Dominus just has to use the Yin Yang Overturn, so he literally just has to survive.
Exactly, there's so many layers of defense coming from the side of Geek Fam that they could actually pull off. But here comes another Fatal Links. 2 of the members of RSG getting caught out. LY4 hopping at the back, looking for Dominus, but he will have to actually hop right back. And it's going to be a lost cause right here. Turtle over side of Geek Fam, and 3 member down once again.
Yep, and Resurgence make the same mistake again. They go a little too hard on the engagement, and LY4, despite him trying his very best to kind of isolate the area, Sync was trying to run away, but ended up getting caught by Arts himself. They're just making sure that they're mixing up the threats every single time. In Resurgence, they just have to figure out a way to really get into that backline, because Feeks, with 8 kills, he's pretty much already stacked up his Bounty Hunter, and he's going to hit level 15 very, very soon. LY4, let's compare the items right now. It's 3 core items to 2 core items in comparison between both of the hyper carries of each team.
Yeah, and I think that their only hope for the side of Resurgence right now is just hoping that they can actually catch Dominus without some of all these frontliners actually butting in the way and Sync! Oh, this is pretty much a big deletion, and what could he actually do? We've already talked about how immobile Sylvana can be, and not only did they actually stop the Natalia, they also managed to get Sync quite a number of times already.
Yeah, and even though that Sylvana has the higher pick potential, Azora Vecchi is is like, you know, Terizla is just a derivation, a different variation of Sylvana. They both have very similar ultimates. They both have the very same idea of looking to engage into the enemy team, except the only difference between the two is that Sync is has options that are a little bit more slippery in comparison to Azora Vecchi, who just wants a face tag, but the wombo combos are coming in, and once again, Sana is caught out. Penalty zone coming out for Azora Vecchi, locking in Sync. There's just no way they can actually beat this composition until they scale up into this game. They're taking these risky 50-50s that they shouldn't be doing, especially when Geek Fam have such big ultimates in their arsenal. They just have to bait them out.
Yeah, and it's so hard to even do that. Like, I don't think that Resurgence could even like bait out all these sort of big ultimates without risking their lives at this point in time. Every single time that they collide, at least 2 to 3 members of Resurgence will eventually falter. Like KZP, although he's supposed to be like the primary tank and it's sort of the feature between 2 of these teams, I don't see him actually lasting all too long to find a way to get into the back line to even get anywhere near Feast. And Feast now 10. Oh, I mean, nobody's going to be able to stop this guy, and he's going to be able to reposition himself. There we go.
KZP trying to disengage. Glorious Pathway comes through. Sync, he managed to stop the engage. And now Azora Vecchi also uses ultimate. This is big for RSG because that means they're going to be able to take the Lord without having to worry. They get the catch onto Zorn. They're jumping onto this Atlas. Can they kill him off? Yes, they can. Zorn unable to get, waiting for his perfect match to come back off of cooldown, gets punished for it. Resurgence, just a couple more of those, at least 4 more to catch up to Geek Fam at this point in time. They defend the first Lord push, but there's still 1 more that they have to defend if they want to come back into this game for Resurgence.
Yeah, of course, that's a very vital pick-off right there. And now to look at it, really, the weakest link coming in from the side of Geek Fam is basically their beefiest unit, to say the very least. Like, it's either you gotta go in for those guys who have already go in with the engagement, like you did mention earlier, if the show goes in, or Atlas. So after that, you can actually flip the switch with Sana preparing that sort of ejector to take them in towards uncharted terrains. And now we're looking at Sync here. Dodging it pretty well, and Zoran once again added with those sort of taunts.
But remember what we were talking about the earlier stages of the game. Looking at the team composition, they're just waiting for, you know, the later part of the game just so they can activate Jason so he can get split pushing power on those side lanes. He is the most mobile other than, you know, LY4 in this particular composition. And you can see that Azora Vecchi, his job not only is to look for those big engages, but to also maintain side wave control against this Natalia. So Jason, he's playing literally 2 to 3 games as RSG is trying to survive.
Yeah, of course, a lot of pressure on his shoulders here, but eventually he'll be able to actually make it right there, as he's already got half the C's as well. Of course, he just have to complete a few more major items in the back to be pretty much successful in those sort of split attempts, while he's constantly putting pressure over the bot side while winning a little bit more from the top lane. Now RSG having Arts only in front of them, they are definitely thinking about what comes next out of this, because Geek Fam slowly has negated a little bit more of that sort of pressure that they've been putting upon inside of the jungles of Resurgence.
And Resurgence are playing this really, really smart. They're making sure that they're splitting up the map as much as possible. Azora Vecchi gonna get caught out a little bit, but they know that he's a little too tanky, especially since he's at level 15. And he has that, you know, Festival of Blood. So if he lands on multiple targets and the wave, the spell vamp is gonna be a little too much for now until they get life spell vamp reduction and healing reduction for the side of RSG.
And looks like the Geek Fam wants to actually go in for the catch once again. Fatal Links coming up, but the LY4 goes in with the flicker. But KZP now being stuck, although he has the Glorious Pathway, he will eventually fall. Same goes to Sync as well. They could not escape out of the raft here. And of course, this will be 2 more kills in the back for the side of Geek Fam. But look what we have, a little bit of split push and an arrival coming from Resurgence. They have expected that push coming from Natalia, but LY4 also moving very, very quickly to try and support that cause. And with that being said, they are pretty much occupied by the corners of the Lord, but oh my, Dominus has been caught out! This is a big catch coming from Jason here as LY4 hops right into the back as well. Arts will go in for a chase, and they will be able to actually take down LY4. But this will go on a reset as RSG rotated well enough to stop the Lord.
A little bit of a mistake coming in from LY4. He probably could have survived that if he kited down instead of kited back up towards the top side of the map, because he should have known that Geek Fam were rotating down. I think it was a really good call coming in from RSG. However, I think the disengage could have been a little bit better. But remember, Dominus, Zoran, and Feeks, all 3 of them died in trade for LY4. So at the end of the day, this was so worth it for RSG because now they prevented Luminous Lord from getting taken away. They've scaled up to the 41k mark, which means that their cores are very close to full build, if not already has it. And the rest of the members, especially the supports, like notice KZP, he survived a lot longer because of the revitalize of the items that he had when they were fighting on the bottom side of the map. So if that isn't an indication that RSG have finally reached a pinnacle point where they're scaling into the game, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and of course, they are just scaling better and better as time goes by. And I think that for Geek Fam, they understand that they have already reached that pinnacle already. And oh my, speaking of which, oh, pretty much a couple of all these flips will be able to actually punish Sync for the 6th time. And KZP is just looking by and like, okay, guys, we are here. You can't do this yet again. You can't start the Lord. And KZP could definitely soak in a little bit of damage, but here comes a little bit of flip over on the Storm, while LY4 is getting hunted down. Flicker coming out from the side of Arts, definitely a really big kill to call, but KZP is already being taken down, so LY4 will hop right in with the Blazing Duet. He's got to escape though, but now a little bit more time being bought there by the Natalia, but Geek Fam has a better chance at the Lord right now.
Yeah, a very preemptive arrival coming in from Azora Veki here. I think he should have just let the Natalia rotate so he could keep on pushing and maybe even get a bottom inhibitor had he just continued to push that in that particular wave. Because again, he had a little bit of a wave. I think the decision making behind it was, all right, Jason cut off the second reinforcement wave in the backline, so therefore I wouldn't have enough minions to actually clear this up. Jason, can he survive? He's trying to very hard, but he's able to be ejected into safety thanks to Sana and a little bit of help from Sync to kind of shoo them away, shoo Geek Fam away.
Yeah, the good news is that Resurgence should be able to actually defend this because both the Turisla as well as the Cho is not present over the mid side, but they might still have to actually soak in a little bit of that pressure there. The base is about to be cracked right open. Arts will be able to actually purchase that immortality, but how long can they hold? The bottom side has already had minutes escort their way, and they lose to intimidate turns right there. Oh, there it looks pretty bad here. Fell legs in towards the middle there, and Arts will be able to connect that Warrior Dragon, but of course a little bit of return favor right there. But there's still 4 more members of the side of Geek Fam. Make that all 5 as we're looking at Geek Fam equalizing it 1-1.
An extremely convincing game coming in from Geek Fam here. Faraz, come on back in. I know you got some stuff to say.
Woo! Yes, I do, man. This is a beautiful game, and honestly, I was afraid towards the end there because it definitely looked like Resurgence could make a comeback. And I swear, if it was Sync, I think, with his Sylvana, if he didn't get caught out at the Lord Pit over there, they could have actually waited this long enough for the Natalia to keep pushing, because the Natalia was the one that was annoying and separating Geek Fam from each other, and it was working out a few times. However, they got caught out, and then Natalia had to come back to save these guys, and that's when they slowly got, caught out one by